Alright everyone, welcome back to my channel, Baseball Talk with Nick Morgan. So today we're talking about Marcus Stroman being traded to the New York Mets. Now my last video I talked about 10 guys who are likely to be dealt by the July 31st trade deadline, and Stroman was one of those guys on that list. However, the surprising part about this trade is that the Mets were on the receiving end of things here. They actually got Marcus Stroman in exchange for a couple prospects, and they got cash as well. So it worked out in the Mets' favor. Some people say they paid too much for him. Some people say it wasn't worth getting Stroman, that they should have just left him, see what the Blue Jays did with him, and not even worried about it. But who knows? We're going to talk about it right now. There's a lot going on, a lot of questions that we have and that we're going to be asking, and hopefully the Mets will be answering them at some point, either with trades or follow-ups or something. Just a lot going on right now. Kind of crazy. But yeah, Marcus Stroman traded to the New York Mets. So the official overview of this trade was that the Blue Jays shipped Marcus Stroman and cash considerations to the Mets in exchange for two prospects. Left-handed pitcher Anthony Kay and right-handed pitcher Simeon Woods Richardson. Woods Richardson is ranked 6th in the Mets farm system, and Kay is 4th. So two pretty high up prospects. I mean, Kay, easily the better guy in this trade for the Blue Jays. But two pretty high up there guys in the farm system with the Mets, and now they literally have like no one in their farm system. They have pretty much anyone who's on the major leagues, and that's it. It's kind of weird. They don't have a lot of young talent coming up, and the Blue Jays have based their team off the farm systems. Vlad Jr., Kevin Bishop. There are reports that Bo Bichette was being called up and that he'll be playing soon with the Blue Jays at major league level. So that's really what the Blue Jays are about. It's about the young guys, the talent, and the future. So this is interesting. It raises a couple red flags here. Now for the New York Mets, again, a lot of questions. You know that Noah Syndergaard has been thrown out there a lot. Will he be traded? I think there were talks about him and like a 3-team trade with the Mets, the Padres, and the Blue Jays, where the Blue Jays would give the Mets Marcus Stroman, the Padres would receive Noah Syndergaard, and I don't know what happened with the Padres and the Blue Jays, but that has not happened. I mean, Marcus Stroman went to the Mets on his own in a trade with the Blue Jays, so the Padres are out of it unless Syndergaard just goes to them in a separate trade as well. I don't know, but that also brings up a point. Are the Mets buyers or sellers? You got to make up your mind. I mean, they're not really contending for the 2019 postseason. They are 6 games back of the second wildcard spot, but they have a decent number of teams that they are trailing behind, so they really need to pick it up and win a lot now if they want to make it to late October games. I don't really think that's going to happen, though. There's a lot of other great teams in the National League and the American League that they'd have to beat out. I mean, American League not so much, but the National League, there are some really good teams there. The strong rotation, though, that you have, if you were to keep Syndergaard and Stroman, it'd be DeGrom as your ace, Noah Syndergaard as your number 2 guy, Zach Wheeler and Marcus Stroman are kind of interchangeable here. You could put one on the third spot, one on the 4th spot, and then Steven Matz as the number 5 guy. Probably Jason Vargas in the bullpen, unless you trade him. So there's a lot going on here. The Mets said that they were probably going to resign Zach Wheeler, and then maybe would they deal Vargas at that point? Would they also ship Syndergaard somewhere? What are they doing? Like, there have been talks that maybe they get rid of some of their older guys with not a lot of time left on the contract, which makes sense. Todd Frazier, his name has been out there. Michael Conforto, like, what? The Mets seem to be, like, thinking of anyone here. Hey, name a guy in the team, pick a package and maybe we'll give him to you. Like, it's kind of crazy what's going on. And I don't really know where the Mets fall, because if they're shipping away Syndergaard and a couple other their pitchers, you would think, well, hey, maybe that means they're working for the future. They want some prospects. But they just got rid of some of their best prospects. So why would they get rid of some and then get rid of another good young player just to get some prospects back? Like, it's weird what the Mets mentality is right now and just doesn't really make sense. Another thing was maybe package Syndergaard and Stroman together. That would be a huge haul. I mean, some people were saying, hey, maybe Syndergaard and Marcus Stroman both go to the Padres in exchange for some really good prospects and some talent now at the major league level. That's, like, mind-blowing. I don't know. I don't think that would be possible. Or not, that's not possible. I just don't think that would happen. It also seems like the Mets are pretty comfortable with having Marcus Stroman for the long term. I don't think they'd go ahead, package him, and sell him right away and flip him. Though, I wouldn't put it past them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But that'd be really cool to see a huge starting pitching trade because Syndergaard and Stroman, or like Stroman and Wheeler or something along those lines. The Mets have a lot more moves probably this upcoming couple of days before the trade deadline, so I don't really know where they fall right now. I mean, I was reading Noah Syndergaard's tweets on Twitter, and he's like, I'm so confused. He's like, what's happening? That's pretty much everyone. If you're a Mets fan right now, like, what is going on with this team? As I mentioned, and as probably most of you guys know, Marcus Stroman came from the Toronto Blue Jays. He's won a Gold Glove. I believe he debuted in 2015. And in 2019, he has 21 games under his belt, a 6-11 record, a 2.96 ERA, 124.2 innings pitched, 99 strikeouts, and a 1.23 whip. This guy definitely pitches for ERA. I mean, it's super low compared to a lot of other guys in Major League Baseball. And that's really going to be the best impact for the New York Mets because they've tended to give up a lot of runs, and sometimes their offense just can't put together enough to come back and win games, even though they have Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, and some really great guys. 2.96 ERA was leading, I think at one point, or he was pretty low, and it was like one of the top guys in the league with ERA. He's not a strikeout pitcher, though, which might be a little bit of a problem because, you know, if you're not striking people out, they're going out either by ground out, line out, or fly out, and the Mets don't have the best defense. So they might need to work on a couple things there before they get Stroman on the mound for the first time. Because, hey, Stroman's goal is to get outs, and he's able to do that. But if the Mets fielders can't field and do their job, there might not be a huge impact for Stroman as they would want to. Because I think he could do a lot better with a good defense behind him. In his career, he has pitched in 135 games with a 47-45 record, a 3.76 ERA, and 789.2 innings pitched, 635 strikeouts, and a 1.28 whip. So these are the two prospects that the Mets gave up for Stroman. The first guy is Anthony Kay. Again, he's the number 4 guy in the Mets farm system. These are his numbers from AA and AAA combined this year in 2019. An 8-6 record, a 3.13 ERA, 19 games pitched, 97.2 innings pitched, and 96 strikeouts. He was actually going to be in the Mets starting rotation potentially next year. He was one of those guys where he could be called up pretty much any minute. And now he's with the Blue Jays, and I think the Blue Jays could definitely call him up and use him as soon as 2020, much like the Mets were kind of planning on. But the next guy here, Simeon Woods Richardson, didn't have that same potential as Anthony Kay. And by that, I mean he wasn't really going to be ready for the 2020 season. He's pitched in single A ball so far this year with a 3-8 record, a 4.25 ERA, 20 games pitched, 78.1 innings pitched, and 97 strikeouts. He's definitely not going to be ready for the next couple of years, so the Blue Jays will kind of have to develop him a little bit more in the system. But two pretty decent guys, both pitchers, so they got rid of their ace in exchange for a potential ace in Anthony Kay and like a 3 or 4 guy, in my opinion, in Simeon Woods Richardson. Like, to think that the New York Mets could potentially ship Noah Syndergaard somewhere is kind of crazy at this point, because if they are working for 2019, what would that do for them? If they're working for the future, what would that do for them? I'm very confused right now, and I'm not a Mets fan. I mean, they are one of my favorite teams, but I'm not like a diehard Mets guy, which I think is good in my case, because I don't know what their focus is right now. Stroman's great. I mean, I'm excited that they have him. I liked Stroman when he was with the Blue Jays. I think I'm going to like him now when he's with the Mets, but he seems to show excitement that he's going to be there. On Twitter, he was very excited. He's posting some baby pictures. He talked about how New York was his hometown where he grew up and stuff. Now he's pitching there. That's where his family lives. It's very easy to commute and stuff. He's excited. But just, Mets, what are you doing? I mean, if they're going for this year, they're 6 games back of the second wildcard spot, so they really need to go ahead and lock that down. They need to win a lot of games. They need to win them now, get them out of the way, get up there, at least tie for the second wildcard spot. You don't want to drop too much lower than you are right now. Thinking that they could get rid of Syndergaard is kind of crazy at this point. I mean, Wheeler might make sense. Vargas might make sense. Both have been actually pretty good with the Mets this year. But Syndergaard and DeGrom, that's a 1-2 punch. That's really good. And then Stroman, and then you can work with everyone else. Even if you keep all your starting pitchers right now, if you're the New York Mets, you throw Vargas in the bullpen next year, you throw Matz in the bullpen next year, one of them is in the bullpen, the other is a number 5 guy. Like, you have so many options. You know the Mets are injury prone. You might as well just keep them. But I don't know what's going on, guys. I want you to comment down below what you think about this whole Marcus Stroman trade. Again, I'm super excited. I don't think it'll be the biggest trade of the July 31st trade deadline. We still have a lot more to come. Will Trevor Bauer move? Will Syndergaard move? Will we see like Matt Boyd? Will we see guys like Matt Boyd change teams? What's going to happen here in the next couple days? We have to wait and see. Only time will tell. That's going to end this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like down below, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace.